I arrived at the address 15 minutes early, clutching my resume and trying to calm my nerves. The brownstone in Brooklyn was stunning, the kind of place that screamed old money and careful maintenance. Definitely not the typical home where I'd worked as a nanny before. The job posting had been vague but promising, experienced nanny needed for 2 children. Ages 4 and 7, live-in position, generous salary, references required. Family values discretion and professionalism. The salary listed was double what I'd made at my last position. In New York, that kind of money was life-changing. I rang the doorbell, smoothing down my conservative dress. First impressions mattered, especially for live-in positions where you'd be part of the family's daily life. The door opened, and I found myself face-to-face with a man who definitely wasn't expecting a nanny. He was probably in his mid-30s, tall and powerfully built, with dark hair and sharp features that were striking rather than classically handsome. He wore jeans and a black t-shirt that showed off muscular arms covered in intricate tattoos. Everything about him screamed danger wrapped in casual confidence. "Can I help you?" His voice was deep, slightly accented Italian, maybe. "I'm here for the nanny position. I have a 2 p.m. interview." I checked my phone to confirm the time. "This is 447 Prospect Avenue, right?" Something flickered across his face, surprise, maybe calculation. "You're here for the nanny job." "Yes, I'm Emily Carter. I submitted my resume last week and received an email confirming the interview time." I pulled out my phone to show him the confirmation email. He studied me for a long moment, his dark eyes assessing in a way that made me want to step back. Then, surprisingly, he smiled. "Of course. Please come in. I'm Dante Moretti, the children's father." The interior of the brownstone was as impressive as the exterior: high ceilings, expensive furniture, art on the walls. But there were also signs of children's toys in a basket by the stairs, small shoes by the door. Crayon drawings hung on what was clearly a very expensive refrigerator visible through the kitchen doorway. "The children are with my sister right now," Dante explained, gesturing for me to follow him to what looked like a home office. "I wanted to conduct the initial interview privately, then introduce you to them if we both think it's a good fit." "That makes sense. I appreciate you taking the time." He settled behind a large desk and I sat across from him, feeling like this was more a business negotiation than a nanny interview. He pulled out a folder: my resume, letters of recommendation, background check results. "You have impressive credentials," he said, scanning the documents. 4 years of experience, degree in early childhood education. References from 3 previous families who all spoke highly of you. Why are you looking for a new position?" "My last family moved to London. They offered to take me with them, but I have family in New York. I didn't want to leave. So I'm looking for a new position here." "Family. That's important to you." "Very important. I'm close with my parents and my younger brother. They're my support system." He made a note on a pad. "The position I'm offering is live-in. You'd have your own room and bathroom, but you'd be expected to be available most evenings and weekends. Is that something you're comfortable with?" "I've done live-in positions before. As long as I get some personal time and occasional days off to see my family, I can make it work." "You'd get Sundays off and 2 evenings a week, plus 2 weeks paid vacation per year." He slid a paper across the desk. "This is the formal job description and compensation package." I read through it, trying not to let my shock show. The salary was even higher than the posting had indicated, nearly $80,000 a year, plus room and board, health insurance, and a generous benefits package. "This is very generous. Mr. Moretti, I have to ask, what's the catch?" "This is significantly above market rate for a nanny position. The catch is that my children need stability and consistency, which means I need someone who won't leave after 6 months for a better offer. I'm willing to pay well for someone qualified who will commit long-term." His dark eyes held mine. "I'm also willing to pay for discretion. My family values privacy. What happens in this house, what you see and hear, it stays confidential. That's non-negotiable." "I understand. I've always maintained confidentiality with the families I've worked for. It's part of professional ethics." "Good, then let's discuss the children." He pulled out photos: a little girl with dark curls and big eyes, and a boy with the same dark features, clearly siblings. "Lucia is 4, Marco is 7. Their mother passed away 2 years ago. It's been an adjustment for all of us. I'm so sorry for your loss." That must be incredibly difficult for them. It has been, which is why they need someone stable, someone who can provide the maternal presence they're missing. My sister helps when she can, but she has her own family. I need someone full-time, someone who can be there for them consistently. I understand. Can you tell me about their personalities? What they like, what challenges they might have. For the next 20 minutes, Dante talked about his children with clear affection. Marco was smart but struggling in school, acting out because he missed his mother. Lucia was shy, clingy, needed reassurance. Both of them had trust issues with new people because of their loss. They sound like normal kids dealing with abnormal circumstances, I said gently. With time and consistency, they'll adjust. Children are more resilient than we give them credit for. That's what I'm hoping. That the right person can help them heal. Mr. Moretti, can I ask, do you work from home? What's your schedule like? I ask because consistency is important, and if the children see you regularly, that helps with their sense of security. I work from home most days. I'm usually in my office, but I'm available if needed. And when I do have to go out for business, I make sure to be home for dinner and bedtime. The children are my priority. That was a good answer. Involved fathers made childcare easier. When would you need me to start? Immediately, if possible. My current arrangement, my sister helping out, isn't sustainable long term. She has her own children to care for. He leaned forward. Emily, I'll be honest. I've interviewed 5 other candidates. None of them felt right. But talking to you, seeing your credentials, hearing how you talk about children, I think you might be what my family needs. If you're interested, I'd like to offer you the position. You can start as soon as you're able. It was sudden, maybe too sudden. But the money was incredible. The children sounded like they genuinely needed help. And something about Dante Moretti's clear devotion to his kids made me trust him. I'd like to meet the children first, if that's okay. Make sure we're a good fit personality-wise. If that goes well, I can start next Monday. That gives me a week to wrap up things at my current apartment and move in. Fair enough. Let me call my sister, have her bring the children home. He pulled out his phone, spoke in rapid Italian, then hung up. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Would you like coffee while we wait? That would be great, thank you. In the kitchen, which was gorgeous, clearly renovated recently, Dante made coffee with the ease of someone who did this regularly. We chatted about neutral topics, the neighborhood, good schools in the area, parks where I could take the children. You've really thought this through, I observed. Most parents I've worked for kind of wing it with childcare. You're very organized. I have to be. Raising 2 kids alone while running a business, there's no room for chaos. Everything needs to be structured, planned, controlled. He handed me a mug. My sister says I'm too rigid, that I should relax more. But rigidity keeps everyone safe. Safe from what? From the unpredictability of life. From more loss. From anything that could hurt them. His expression was intense. I've already failed to protect them once, their mother's death. I won't fail again. Before I could respond, the front door opened. A woman's voice called out in Italian, and 2 small figures came running into the kitchen. The children stopped when they saw me. The little girl Lucia immediately hiding behind her brother. Marco, the court. Lucia, this is Miss Emily, Dante said in English. Kneeling to their level. She might be your new nanny. Can you say hello? Hello? Marco said carefully, eyeing me with suspicion. Lucia just stared, thumb in her mouth. Hi, Marco. Hi, Lucia. It's nice to meet you. I stayed seated, making myself less intimidating. Your dad told me you like drawing, Lucia. I saw some of your pictures on the refrigerator. They're really good. Lucia didn't respond, but she stopped hiding quite so much behind her brother. And Marco, I heard you're really good at math. That's my favorite subject too. Really? Marco's suspicion eased slightly. Most people think math is boring. Not at all. Math is like solving puzzles. And puzzles are fun. A woman appeared in the kitchen doorway, early 30s, clearly Dante's sister based on the family resemblance. She studied me with sharp eyes. I'm Gianna, she said. Danny's sister. So you're the new nanny candidate? Emily Carter. Nice to meet you. We'll see. She turned to Dante, speaking in Italian. He responded, and they had a quick exchange that I couldn't follow. Then Gianna switched to English. The children and I are going to the park. Would you like to come with us, Emily? Give the kids a chance to get to know you in a neutral setting? I'd love that. The park was 3 blocks away, and during the walk, Gianna interrogated me with the subtlety of a prosecutor. So you've worked for how many families? 3 over 4 years. Why did you leave each position? First family's children outgrew needing a nanny. Second family relocated to another state and I didn't want to leave New York. Third family, as I mentioned, moved to London. Any issues with any of the families? Personality conflicts, disagreements about childcare? Minor differences of opinion, but nothing major. I believe in open communication. If I disagree with a parenting choice, I discuss it respectfully with the parents. But ultimately, they're the parents. I'm just there to support their vision. Good answer. Gianna watched as Marco ran ahead to the playground equipment, Lucia trailing after him. My brother is very protective of these children. Especially after Maria, their mother, died. You'll need to understand that he's going to be involved, possibly overly so. He'll question your decisions, want detailed updates, need to know exactly what's happening with them at all times. That doesn't bother me. Involved parents are easier to work for than absent ones. Even when that involvement borders on controlling. I'd rather work with someone who cares too much than someone who doesn't care enough. Gianna smiled slightly. You'll do. Just don't let him push you around. Dante respects strength. If you're too accommodating, he'll walk all over you. At the playground, I spent an hour playing with the children. Marco warmed up quickly, showing me how high he could swing, challenging me to races. Lucia took longer, but eventually she let me push her on the swing, and by the end she was holding my hand. They like you, Gianna observed as we walked back. That's rare. They've been resistant to every other nanny candidate. Maybe because I'm not trying too hard. Just letting them approach at their own pace. Smart. These two have been through enough. They don't need someone forcing connection. Back at the brownstone, Dante was waiting in the living room. He looked at his sister questioningly. She's good, Gianna said in English. The children responded well. I approve. Miss Emily, Marco said, tugging my hand. Are you going to be our nanny? Are you going to live here? Would you like that? I asked. He nodded seriously. The other ladies were scary. You're nice. I'm glad you think so. How about you, Lucia? Would you be okay with me being your nanny? Lucia whispered something to her brother. Marco translated, she says yes, but only if you promise not to leave like Mama did. My heart broke a little. I promise I'll stay as long as your dad needs me to take care of you. Okay. Okay, double quotes after the children were distracted with a snack, Dante pulled me aside. So, do you want the job? Yes, if you're offering it, I accept. I'm offering it. When can you start? Next Monday. That gives me a week to give notice at my current apartment, pack my things, and prepare. Perfect. I'll have the employment contract drawn up. You'll need to sign it before you officially start. He extended his hand. Welcome to the family, Emily. His handshake was firm, warm, and held just a second longer than professional. When I left the brownstone that evening, I felt good about my decision. The children were sweet, the salary was amazing, and Dante seemed like a devoted father who just needed help. I had no idea what I'd actually agreed to. Moving into the Moretti brownstone on Monday was surprisingly smooth. Dante had my room ready, spacious, with an ensuite bathroom and a small sitting area. It was nicer than any apartment I'd ever rented. This is beautiful, I said, setting down my suitcases. Thank you. You'll be living here, taking care of my children. You deserve comfortable space. He gestured to a dresser. I had some basic stock toiletries, towels, that kind of thing. If you need anything else, just let me know. The house budget includes whatever you need for yourself and the children. That's very generous. It's practical. I need you focused on Marco and Lucia, not worrying about whether you have shampoo. He handed me a key. Front door, back door, and your room. You're not a prisoner here. Come and go as you need to. Just let me know when you're taking the children out. Of course. The first week was an adjustment period. Marco and Lucia tested boundaries normal for children getting used to new caregivers. Marco tried lying about homework, seeing if I'd catch it. Lucia had a meltdown when I said no to a second cookie. Standard kid behavior, but I also noticed things that weren't standard. The security system was extensive cameras, alarms, reinforced doors. Dante had a study that was always locked when he wasn't in it. And there were men who occasionally came by for business meetings who looked more like security than business associates. "Mr. Moretti," I said one evening after putting the children to bed, "can I ask what kind of business you're in?" "Import-export. Family business, been around for generations." "Why do you ask?" "Just curious. The men who come for meetings, they don't look like typical business associates." "They're not typical. They're family. My business is closely tied to family relationships. It's complicated." He closed his laptop. "Does it concern you? The nature of my work?" "Only if it affects the children's safety." "You mentioned earlier that you're protective because you want to keep them safe." "Safe from what, exactly?" He was quiet for a moment, clearly weighing how much to tell me. "My business isn't entirely conventional. There are people who might want to use my children as leverage against me. That's why the security, why I'm so careful about who's around them." "You're trustworthy. I vetted you thoroughly." "But not everyone is." "So you're saying the children could be in danger? Because of your business?" "I'm saying I take precautions to ensure they're never in danger." "There's a difference." His dark eyes were intense. "Emily, when I hired you, I promised you'd be safe here. That extends to understanding that this house is probably the most secure location in Brooklyn. Nothing happens to anyone under my protection." The way he said protection made it sound like more than just security systems. "Are you involved in something illegal?" I asked directly. That's a complicated question with a complicated answer. But I will tell you this, I don't bring illegal activities into this house. Around my children, the life I live in business is completely separate from the life I live as a father. Can you accept that without needing more details? I should have pressed for more information. Should have recognized the red flags. But the children needed me, the job paid well, and Dante had been nothing but respectful and professional. I can accept that. As long as the children are safe and your business doesn't interfere with their well-being. It won't. You have my word. Over the next month, I settled into a routine. Mornings were breakfast and getting Marco ready for school. Days were spent with Lucia teaching her letters, playing games, taking her to the park. Afternoons were picking up Marco, helping with homework, managing dinner. Evenings were family time, then bedtime routines. Dante was present more than most working fathers I'd encountered. He ate breakfast with the children every morning, always made it home for dinner, and put them to bed himself most nights. On weekends, he'd take them to the park or museums, often inviting me along. "You're good with them," I observed one Saturday at the Natural History Museum. We were watching Lucia's delighted reaction to the dinosaur exhibits while Marco ran ahead, taking pictures with a kid's camera Dante had bought him. I try. Being both mother and father, it's harder than I expected. I can provide for them, protect them, love them. But the gentle nurturing their mother gave them, I'm not sure I can replicate that. You don't have to replicate it. You just have to be present and consistent. Children don't need perfect parents. They need parents who show up. Is that what you learned in your childhood education classes? That's what I learned from my own parents. They weren't perfect, but they were always there. That's what mattered. He smiled, something genuine and warm that transformed his usually serious face. You're wise for someone so young. How old are you, Emily? 25. 27. And you? 36. Old enough to know better, young enough to make mistakes anyway. He watched as Marco called for Lucia to come see something. I'm glad you're here. The children are happier than they've been since Maria died. That's because of you. It's because they're ready to heal. I'm just providing a safe space for that to happen. Don't diminish what you do. You're good at this. The children love you. The words hung between us, and I realized our relationship had shifted from employer-employee to something more collaborative. We were co-parenting, essentially, even though I was technically just the nanny. That evening, after the children were in bed, Dante asked if I'd join him for a glass of wine. We'd fallen into the habit of debriefing at the end of each day, discussing the children's progress, any issues. what was working and what needed adjustment. Lucia asked me today if you were going to be her new mommy, Dante said, swirling his wine. I told her you're her nanny, not her mother. But she seemed confused about the difference. That's normal at her age. She sees a woman who takes care of her, lives in her house, is around every day. In her mind, that's similar to what a mother does. Does it bother you? Being seen that way? Not really. I understand that's how children process these relationships. As long as we're clear with her about roles, she figure it out. And what about Marco? He told his teacher that you help him with homework every night, that you make his favorite foods, that you read to him before bed. She asked if you were my girlfriend. I nearly choked on my wine. What did you tell her? The truth. That you're our nanny, an essential member of our household, but not my romantic partner. He met my eyes. Though I can see how people might assume. We spend a lot of time together. We co-parent effectively. To outside observers, it might look like more than an employment relationship. But it's not. We're clear on that. Very clear. He paused. Though I'll admit, Emily, having you here has been nice. Not just for the children. For me too. Having another adult to talk to share the burden of parenting with. I didn't realize how isolated I'd been until you arrived. I'm glad I can help. That's what you're paying me for. Right, what I'm paying you for. Something flickered across his face, disappointment maybe. But he smiled and changed the subject. Gianna wants to have a family dinner this weekend. You'd be welcome to join us. She's quite fond of you. I appreciate that, but family dinners are your time with the children. I don't need to intrude. You wouldn't be intruding. You're part of our daily life. It makes sense to include you in extended family gatherings too. Let me think about it. The truth was, I was getting too comfortable in the Moretti household. Too attached to the children, too familiar with Dante, too settled in a situation that was supposed to be temporary employment. Getting involved with extended family dinners would blur boundaries even more. But the following Saturday, when Gianna arrived with her husband and 2 children, she insisted I join them. You can't just hide in your room like you don't exist, she said, pulling me into the dining room. You're part of this family now. Sit, eat, enjoy. The dinner was loud, chaotic, full of laughter and Italian being spoken rapidly. Gianna's children played with Marco and Lucia, and the adults argued good-naturedly about everything from politics to the best way to make pasta sauce. You're quiet, Gianna's husband Antonio observed. Overwhelmed by the Moretti chaos? Just taking it all in. My family is quieter. More reserved. Boring, you mean, Gianna teased. This is what family should be. Loud, argumentative, but full of love. It's nice. Different from what I'm used to, but nice. After dinner, while the children played in the backyard, the adults had coffee in the living room. The conversation shifted to Italian, which I couldn't follow, but I caught Dante's name several times. And based on the serious tone, they weren't discussing pasta sauce anymore. Dante must have noticed my discomfort because he switched to English. We were just discussing a business matter. Nothing to concern you. Emily's smart, Gianna said. She's probably already figured out that our family business isn't exactly legitimate. Gianna, Danny's voice held a warning. What? She lives in your house, takes care of your children, is around our family constantly. Don't you think she deserves to know what she's involved in? She's not involved in anything. She's a nanny. That's all. Brother, you can't keep her in the dark forever. Especially if you're planning what I think you're planning. What are you planning? I asked, looking at Dante. Nothing. Gianna is being dramatic. I'm being realistic. You've been different since Emily arrived. Happier, more settled. And the way you look at her, enough. Danny's voice was hard. Emily, I apologize for my sister. She forgets boundaries. I'm just saying what everyone's thinking, Gianna said unapologetically. But fine, I'll drop it. For now, after they left, I confronted Dante in the kitchen while he was cleaning up. What was Gianna talking about? What are you planning? Nothing that concerns you. My sister likes to meddle. She said I deserve to know what I'm involved in. Implied that your family business isn't legitimate. Dante, I need to know, is this house, are these children, am I involved in something criminal? He set down the dish he was washing, turned to face me. Yes, my family's business includes illegal operations. I've tried to keep you separate from that, to protect you from knowledge that could be dangerous. But Gianna's right that you're not stupid. You've probably already figured out that I'm not a conventional businessman. What specifically do you do? I run operations for my family throughout Brooklyn and parts of Manhattan. Some of it's legal, legitimate import businesses, real estate. Some of it isn't. I won't lie to you about that. Are you in the mafia? That's a term I don't use. But yes, by most definitions, my family is involved in organized crime. He moved closer. But Emily, I've kept you completely separate from that. You take care of my children. You're not involved in business operations. You're safe. How can I be safe when I'm living in the house of a crime boss? When I'm taking care of his children who could be targeted because of what he does? Because I protect what's mine. And you, whether you realize it or not, fall into that category now. You're under my protection, which means you're safer here than anywhere else in this city. I should quit. Leave. This isn't what I signed up for. You signed up to take care of 2 children who need you. That hasn't changed. My business activities don't change the fact that Marco and Lucia need stability, consistency, someone who cares about them. Can you really walk away from them because of what I do for a living? He knew exactly where to hit my attachment to the children. Because he was right. I loved Marco and Lucia. The thought of leaving them, of them losing another maternal figure, broke my heart. This isn't fair. Using the children to keep me here. I'm not using them. I'm reminding you why you took this job in the first place. Not because of the money or the nice room. Because you genuinely care about helping children. Those children need you, Emily. Don't let my complicated life take that away from them. I wanted to argue, to insist this was manipulation. But he was right. I'd taken the job because I cared about kids. And Marco and Lucia deserve better than me abandoning them because their father was a criminal. I'll stay. For them, but Dante, I need boundaries. I'm the nanny. Nothing more. No blurred lines, no family dinners, no making me part of your personal life beyond childcare. Understood? Understood. Though for what it's worth, I think you underestimate how much you're already part of our lives. But I'll respect your boundaries. For the next 2 months, I maintained strict professional boundaries. I took care of the children during work hours, retreated to my room in the evenings, and declined all invitations to family events. It was lonely, but safer than getting more involved with Dante's complicated life. You're avoiding me, Dante said one evening when I was heading upstairs after putting the children to bed. I'm maintaining professional distance. Like we agreed. We agreed on boundaries. Not isolation. He gestured to the living room. 5 minutes, please. I need to discuss something about the children. Reluctantly, I sat on the far end of the couch. What about them? Marco's teacher called. He's been getting into fights at school. She thinks he's acting out because of stress at home. I wanted to know if you've noticed anything. He's been more aggressive during playtime. Rougher with Lucia, quicker to anger. I've been trying to address it with timeouts and discussions, but it's not improving. Do you think he needs therapy? A professional to help him process his grief? I think it wouldn't hurt. But Dante, 7-year-old boys also sometimes just need to burn off energy. When's the last time he did something physical? Sports, martial arts, anything like that? Before Maria died, he played soccer. But after she passed, he refused to go back. Said it reminded him too much of her watching from the sidelines. What if we found a new activity? Something he's never done before, so there are no painful associations. Martial arts could be good, teaches discipline, gives him an outlet for aggression in a controlled setting. That's actually a good idea. Would you be willing to take him to classes? Research options and get him enrolled? Of course. That's part of my job, supporting the children's development and well-being. Thank you. He was quiet for a moment. Emily, I know you're keeping distance because you're uncomfortable with my work. I respect that. But the children have noticed. Lucia asked why you don't eat dinner with us anymore. Marco asked if you're mad at us. I'm not mad at them. I'm just trying to maintain appropriate boundaries between employer and employee. By making 2 grieving children feel like they're losing another person who cares about them. That's not maintaining boundaries. That's creating emotional distance that hurts them. The accusation stung because it was true. What do you want me to do? Pretend your criminal activities don't exist? Act like this is a normal family? I want you to remember why you're here. Not because of what I do for a living, but because 2 children need someone consistent and caring in their lives. If that means you join us for dinner, for family movie nights, for the everyday moments that make them feel secure, is that really too much to blur your precious boundaries? It's not about my boundaries. It's about not getting more involved with a family whose father runs criminal operations. I don't want to be complicit, Dante. I don't want to become part of something I morally oppose. You're not complicit in anything. You're a nanny. You take care of children. That's all you are, all you'll ever be expected to be. He stood, running a hand through his hair in frustration. But Emily, those children see you as more than hired help. They see you as family. And pushing them away to maintain your moral high ground? That's cruel. He left me alone with that uncomfortable truth. And he was right. I was hurting Marco and Lucia by withdrawing. They'd already lost their mother. Making them feel like they were losing me too was selfish. The next evening, I joined them for dinner. Lucia's face lit up when I sat at the table. Miss Emily, you're eating with us again. I am. I missed having dinner with you guys. We missed you too, Marco said quietly. I thought maybe you were leaving. Like Mama did. My heart clenched. I'm not leaving, Marco. I'm sorry if my absence made you worry. I'm here, and I'm staying. Dante caught my eye across the table, something like gratitude in his expression. We ate dinner together, the children chattering about their day. And it felt right, natural, like this was where I belonged. After dinner, we had a family movie night, a new tradition I'd apparently been missing. The children insisted I sit between them on the couch, and at some point during the movie, Lucia fell asleep against my shoulder while Marco leaned against Dante on my other side. They're happy, Dante murmured during a quiet scene. You make them happy. They make me happy too, I admitted. I was wrong to pull away. I just got scared. Of me? Of what I am. Of caring too much. Getting too attached. This was supposed to be a job, but it's become more than that. Is that so terrible? Caring about the people you work for? It is when the person I work for is involved in things I can't support. Dante, I don't know how to reconcile my feelings for these children, for this family, with my knowledge of what you do. Then don't try to reconcile it. Just accept that people are complicated. I'm a father who loves his children. I'm also someone who does illegal things. Both can be true simultaneously. It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. You don't have to approve of my work to care about my children. Stop making this an either-or situation. Maybe he was right. Maybe I could love the children, even care about him as their father, without endorsing his criminal activities. Compartmentalize the way he apparently did. I found a martial arts school that specialized in classes for young children. Marco was initially resistant, but after the first class where he learned to punch and kick a heavy bag, he was hooked. It's so cool, Miss Emily, he said on the drive home. The instructor said I'm a natural. Can I go twice a week, please? We'll ask your dad. But I think it's a great idea. Dante agreed immediately, pleased to see Marco enthusiastic about something again. And over the following weeks, Marco's behavior improved dramatically. He had an outlet for his aggression, was learning discipline, and seemed more settled. You were right about this, Dante said, watching Marco practice moves in the backyard. He needed this. Thank you for suggesting it. Just doing my job. It's more than a job to you. Admit it. Fine, I care about these kids. A lot. Happy? Very. His smile was warm, genuine. And Emily? I care about you too. Not as an employee. As a person. As someone who's become essential to our lives. The admission hung between us, charged with implications neither of us was ready to address. I retreated to safer ground. How's Lucia doing with her shyness? I've noticed she's still reluctant to play with other kids at the park. Nice subject change. But I'll allow it. He settled onto the porch swing beside me. Gianna thinks we should enroll her in preschool. Get her socialized before kindergarten next year. That's not a bad idea. Structured social time with same-age peers could help. We researched preschools together, visited 3 options, and settled on a small program that emphasized gentle socialization for shy children. Lucia was nervous the first day, clinging to me, tears streaming down her face. "I don't want you to leave," she sobbed. "I'll be here when you're done. I promise. Just a few hours and then we'll go to the park together." "Okay. You promise you'll come back?" "I promise. Have I ever broken a promise to you?" She shook her head, still sniffling but calming down. The teacher gently took her hand, led her into the classroom, and Lucia looked back at me one more time before disappearing inside. I sat in my car for 5 minutes fighting tears. She was just going to preschool. This was normal, healthy separation. But it felt like losing her a little bit. My phone buzzed. A text from Dante. "How did drop-off go?" She cried but went in. "I'm a mess. Welcome to parenting. It doesn't get easier. Want to grab coffee while we wait? There's a place near the school." I should have said no. Should have maintained distance. But I was emotional and wanted company, so I met him at the coffee shop. "You look like you're the one who just got dropped off at preschool," he said, handing me a latte. "I know it's silly. She's fine, it's good for her. I should be happy she's taking this step. But she's growing up and you're realizing how attached you've become." Exactly. When did that happen? When did I go from professional nanny to emotionally invested? Whatever I am now? When you stopped thinking of this as a job and started thinking of it as a family. He reached across the table, taking my hand. "Emily, there's something I need to tell you. Something I've been avoiding because I didn't want to complicate things further." "What?" "When I hired you, it wasn't just because of your credentials. It was because I was attracted to you. From the moment you walked into my house, professional and nervous and so clearly perfect for my children, I wanted you. Not as an employee. As something more." I pulled my hand back. "Dante, we can't. This is inappropriate, I know. Which is why I've been respectful, maintained boundaries, treated you as just the nanny even though every day I've wanted to do more. But Emily, I can't keep pretending. I care about you. The children love you. And I hope you feel something for us too. Even if I did, which I'm not confirming, it doesn't matter. You're my employer. This is a professional relationship. Getting involved romantically would be a disaster." "Why?" "Because I pay you. I can stop. Make you an equal partner in this household instead of an employee. Or because of my work. Because I've already told you, I keep that separate from home, from the children, from you. Because it's complicated and messy and wrong on multiple levels." I stood. "I need to go pick up Lucia." "Emily, wait. No, we're not having this conversation. I'm the nanny. That's all I can be. All I will be." I left the coffee shop, my heart racing, emotions in chaos. Because the truth was, I did have feelings for Dante. Had developed them slowly over months of co-parenting. Of late-night conversations, of watching him be an amazing father. But acting on those feelings would be a mistake. A huge, complicated, career-ending mistake. When I picked up Lucia, she ran to me excitedly, chattering about the friends she'd made and the games they'd played. Her teacher pulled me aside. She did wonderfully. No tears after you left, and she participated in all activities. "You have a delightful daughter." "Oh, she's not my daughter. I'm her nanny." "Really?" "The way she talks about you, I assumed you were her mother." My apologies. The assumption should have bothered me. Instead, it felt strangely right. Like maybe that's what I was becoming. Regardless of legal or employment status, that evening, Dante and I maintained careful distance, both of us avoiding the conversation we'd started. But that night, after the children were in bed, he knocked on my door. "We need to talk about this morning." "About what I said?" "There's nothing to talk about. You made your feelings clear." "I've made mine clear. We're done." Except we're not done because we live in the same house and co-parent 2 children. We can't just avoid this, Emily. It's going to keep coming up until we address it. Fine. You want to address it? Here's the truth. Yes, I have feelings for you. But I'm not acting on them. Because even if you stop paying me, even if we find some way to make this not be an employer-employee situation, you're still a criminal. You still do things I can't support. And I won't compromise my values for anyone, no matter how I feel about them. What if I told you I'm trying to get out? Transition the family business to legitimate operations, step back from the criminal aspects? Are you? I'm trying. It's not simple family obligations, expectations, responsibilities. But since you came into our lives, I've been working toward it. Trying to become someone you could respect. Someone worthy of you. Dante, you can't change who you are for me. That's not fair to either of us. I'm not changing for you. I'm changing for my children. So they can grow up with a father they're proud of instead of one they have to make excuses for. You've just given me additional motivation. 3 months after Dante's confession, our relationship existed in a strange limbo. We were more than employer-employee, clearly attracted to each other, but maintaining boundaries out of respect for the complications. It was exhausting and wonderful simultaneously. You two are ridiculous, Gianna said one Saturday when she'd stopped by for lunch. The children were playing in the backyard, and she'd cornered me in the kitchen. The tension is so thick I could cut it with a knife. Just admit you're in love with him and move on. I'm not in love with him. I care about him as the father of the children I take care of. That's all. Liar, I've seen how you look at him. How he looks at you. How you two move around each other like you're magnetized. It's honestly painful to watch. Even if I had feelings, which I'm not confirming, it wouldn't matter. The situation is too complicated. Life is complicated. Love is messy. That's not a reason to avoid it. She poured us both coffee. Emily, my brother has been alone since Maria died. Closed off, focused only on the children and business. You've brought him back to life. Made him happy again. Don't you think you both deserve that happiness? Not if it means compromising who I am. I can't be with someone whose work I fundamentally oppose. Then maybe you don't know my brother as well as you think. Because the man I know is trying desperately to change his life for you. Transitioning operations, stepping back from enforcement, working toward legitimacy. All because you made him want to be better. He told you that? He didn't have to. I see it. The whole family sees it. Dante Moretti, feared and respected, going soft because he fell for his children's nanny. It's like a romance novel. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Or it's the best thing that could happen to all of you. Those children need a mother. You need a family. Dante needs someone who sees him as more than his position in the family business. Stop overthinking and just be happy. That evening, a crisis forced everything into perspective. I was giving Lucia a bath when Dante burst into the bathroom, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Italian. His expression was dark, dangerous, the side of him I rarely saw. Get the children ready, he said in English, cutting off his call. We're leaving. Now. What's happening? Business situation. Potential threat. I'm not taking chances. We're going to a safe house until it's resolved. Dante, you're scaring me. Good, you should be scared. This is what my world looks like when it intrudes. Now please get Lucia dressed and pack a bag for her. I'll handle Marco. 20 minutes later, we were in an SUV with tinted windows, 2 armed men in the front seat, driving to an undisclosed location. The children were confused and frightened, and I held them close in the back seat. Daddy, where are we going? Marco asked. On an adventure. Just for a few days. Miss Emily and I will be with you the whole time. You're safe. The safe house was a fortified apartment in Manhattan, secure, comfortable, but clearly designed for emergencies. Once we were inside, Dante made several phone calls while I tried to settle the children. Is this because of your work? I asked once Marco and Lucia were distracted with a movie. Yes, a rival family made a move. They know about you, about the children. Until I handle the situation, we stay here where it's secure. They know about me? Why would they know about me? Because you've been living in my house for 8 months. You're seen with my children constantly. To outside observers, you're important to me. Which makes you a target. He moved closer, his expression intense. This is why I tried to keep you separate. Why I wanted you to maintain distance. Because caring about you puts you in danger. I never asked for this. Never signed up to be targeted by criminals because I take care of your children. I know. Which is why after we resolve this situation, I'll help you relocate if that's what you want. Set you up somewhere safe, far from my world. I won't force you to stay in danger because of my life. And the children? I'm just supposed to abandon them? I'll hire another nanny. Someone who understands the risks from the beginning. You didn't sign up for this, Emily. You deserve better than living in fear. Don't I get a say in this? Don't you think I should decide whether I stay or go? What would you decide, really? Would you choose to stay in a situation where you could be kidnapped, hurt, used against me? Because that's the reality. This isn't the last time we'll have to hide. It's not the last threat. This is my life, and by extension, it becomes yours if you stay. Before I could answer, his phone rang. He took the call, his expression darkening further with whatever he was hearing. After he hung up, he turned to me. I need to leave. Handle the situation personally. You'll stay here with the children. There are guards outside, security systems, everything you need. I'll be back as soon as I can. How long? I don't know. Could be hours, could be days. But Emily, I need you to promise me something. If anything goes wrong, if someone gets past security, you protect the children. Get them to the panic room, he pointed to a reinforced door, and call this number. He handed me a card. My sister will get you out. Dante, you're really scaring me now. Good, because this is real, and you need to take it seriously. He cupped my face, thumb brushing my cheek. I'm sorry. Sorry I brought you into this, sorry I put you in danger. But I'm grateful you're here to protect them when I can't. Then he was gone, leaving me alone with 2 frightened children in a safe house, armed guards outside, and no idea when he'd return. The first day was manageable. I kept the children busy with games, movies, activities. But by day 2, they were getting restless and scared. When is Daddy coming home? Lucia asked for the 100th time. Soon, sweetheart. He's just taking care of some business. Is he in danger? Marco asked, too perceptive for his age. Is that why we're hiding? Your dad is very good at taking care of himself. We're just being extra careful. But I was terrified. Dante had been gone for 2 days with no communication. The guards outside were tense, constantly on their phones, speaking in Italian too rapid for me to follow. Something was wrong. On day 3, Gianna arrived. Her presence immediately made me feel better, family, reinforcement, someone who knew what was happening. How are they? She asked, glancing at the children. Scared, confused, missing their father. How's Dante? Is he okay? He's handling it. The situation is ... complex, but he's alive and working to resolve things. She pulled me into the kitchen, lowered her voice. Emily, I need to ask you something. If things go badly, if Dante doesn't make it back, would you stay with the children? Take care of them? What do you mean if he doesn't make it back? Gianna, what's happening? There's a possibility this doesn't end well. That the conflict escalates to violence. I need to know if something happens to my brother, will you stay with Marco and Lucia? Be the stability they need? Of course. But Gianna, please tell me what's going on. Where is he? What's he doing? He's negotiating with people who want him dead. Trying to find a peaceful resolution to prevent war between families. It's dangerous, possibly fatal. But it's necessary. The reality of Dante's world had never been clearer. He wasn't just involved in vague criminal activities. He was in actual danger, facing actual death because of family conflicts I didn't fully understand. I need to see him. Talk to him. That's not possible. He's in the middle of negotiations. But Emily, I can pass along a message if there's something you need to say. There was so much I needed to say. That I loved him. That I was terrified of losing him. That I didn't care about his criminal activities if it meant having him safe at home with his children. But I couldn't say any of that to his sister. Tell him the children need him. That's all. Gianna smiled sadly. I'll tell him. But Emily, we both know it's not just the children who need him. On day 4, at 2 a.m., Dante finally came home. I was awake, unable to sleep from worry when I heard the door open. I ran out of my room to find him in the entryway, looking exhausted and rougher than I'd ever seen him. You're okay, I said, relief flooding through me. I'm okay. Is everyone safe? The children? Safe, asleep, They've been asking for you constantly. And you? How are you handling this? I've been terrified. 4 days of not knowing if you were alive, if you were coming back. Dante, I can't do this. Can't live like this, constantly worried that you won't come home. I know. Which is why I'm giving you an out. The threat's been neutralized. We can go home tomorrow. And once we're back, I'll help you find a new position somewhere safe. You don't have to live in my world anymore. What if I don't want an out? What if I want to stay despite the fear and danger and complications? Then you'd be crazy. Emily, this is what my life looks like. Threats, violence, days of uncertainty. You deserve better than living in constant fear. Maybe I deserve to choose for myself what I can handle. And maybe I've decided that being with you, being part of this family, it's worth the fear. Are you saying what I think you're saying? I'm saying I love you. I love your children. I love the life we've built together, complicated and dangerous as it is. And I'm choosing to stay if you'll have me. Not as the nanny. As something more. He closed the distance between us, pulling me into his arms. I love you too. Have loved you for months but didn't think I had the right to say it. Emily, if you stay, really stay, I promise I'll protect you. Keep you as safe as possible in my dangerous world. I'm not asking for perfect safety. I'm asking for honesty and partnership. Can you give me that? Yes, absolutely, yes. He kissed me then, and it felt like coming home. Like everything I'd been fighting against finally making sense. The next morning, we returned to the brownstone. The children were ecstatic to be home, to have their father back. And when Dante explained that I wouldn't just be their nanny anymore, that I was going to be a permanent part of their family, they were even happier. Does this mean you'll be our new mom? Lucia asked hopefully. Not exactly. But I'll be here, taking care of you, loving you, being part of your lives. Is that okay? More than okay. Marco hugged me tightly. We love you, Miss Emily. I love you too. Both of you. That evening, after the children were in bed, Dante and I sat on the porch swing, processing everything that had happened. Are you sure about this? He asked. Once you're officially part of my life, there's no going back to being just the nanny. Everyone will know you're mine. That makes you a permanent target. I'm sure. Terrified, but sure. We'll figure it out together. I'm still working on transitioning the business. Making it more legitimate, less violent. But it's slow and there will be setbacks. I need you to be patient with that process. I can be patient. As long as you're honest with me about what's happening. No more secrets, no more protecting me by keeping me in the dark. No more secrets, he agreed. We're partners now. In everything. 6 months after deciding to stay, I'd fully transitioned from nanny to Dante's partner. We hadn't gotten married. Both of us wanted to take things slowly, make sure the children adjusted to the change in our relationship. But in every way that mattered, I was part of the family. You look happy, my mother observed during Sunday brunch at our favorite restaurant. She'd been suspicious when I first explained the situation's single father. Criminal connections, complicated family dynamics. But meeting Dante and the children had softened her concerns. I am happy. It's not the life I imagined, but it's good. Really good. And you're comfortable with his business activities? I'm comfortable with who he is as a person, as a father. The business part is complicated, and yes, it still bothers me sometimes. But he's working toward change. That has to count for something. As long as you're being realistic about the risks. Emily, you're my daughter. I worry about you being involved with someone in his world. I know, Mom, but I love him. Love his children. And I've decided that's enough to navigate the complications. My father, who'd been quiet throughout lunch, finally spoke up. Just promise me you'll be smart. Keep your eyes open. Don't let love blind you to danger. I promise. Dante's very protective. Almost too protective sometimes. Between him and his security team, I'd probably have more guards than the president. After lunch, I headed back to the brownstone to find Gianna's car in the driveway. Inside, she was having an intense conversation with Dante in his study. They stopped when they saw me. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You're not interrupting, Gianna said. This involves you too. Dante, tell her. Tell me what? Dante sighed, clearly uncomfortable. There's a family meeting next week. The entire Moretti clan, including extended family and business associates. It's an important meeting, decisions being made about leadership transitions, territory adjustments, long-term planning. And as my partner, you're expected to attend. Expected by whom? My uncle, the current head of the family. He wants to meet you formally, see who I've chosen to share my life with. It's traditional when someone in a leadership position takes a serious partner, they're presented to the family. Presented. Like I'm property being shown off? Like you're important enough to me that the family needs to acknowledge you, Gianna corrected. It's actually a sign of respect. Dante's essentially telling everyone that you're under family protection. That harming you means answering to him and the entire Moretti organization. But I have to meet with a room full of criminals and pretend that's normal. You have to meet with my family and be yourself, Dante said firmly. They're not going to judge you for being an outsider. They're going to judge you on whether you're strong enough to be with me, smart enough to navigate our world, and genuine enough to be trusted. That's a lot of pressure. Which is why we have a week to prepare you. Teach you the dynamics, who to watch out for, how to handle uncomfortable questions. Gianna pulled out a notebook. Think of it as a crash course in Moretti family politics. The week leading up to the meeting was intense. Gianna spent hours teaching me about family hierarchy, which relatives had power, who to defer to, who to challenge. Dante coached me on what topics were safe, what should be avoided, how to deflect questions I wasn't comfortable answering. What if I mess up? Say something wrong, offend someone important? Then I'll handle it. Emily, you're not alone in this. I'll be beside you the entire time. My family isn't going to attack you. They're going to test you. There's a difference. That's supposed to make me feel better. It means if you stand your ground, show confidence, and don't let them intimidate you, you'll be fine. They respect strength more than submission. The night before the meeting, I couldn't sleep. Dante found me in the kitchen at 2 a.m. making tea. Nervous? Terrified. What if they don't accept me? What if they think I'm not good enough for you? Then they'd be wrong. Emily, you're more than good enough. You're the best thing that's happened to this family in years. The children are happier, I'm happier, even Gianna likes you, which is rare. My family will see what I see. And if they don't, their opinion doesn't change how I feel about you. But it changes whether I'm safe in your world. If your family doesn't accept me, doesn't that make me more vulnerable? It could. Which is why they're going to accept you. Because they know that rejecting you means losing me. And the family needs me too much to risk that. The meeting was held at a restaurant the family owned, closed to the public, heavily secured, clearly a frequent location for these gatherings. Walking in beside Dante, I felt every eye turn to assess me. There were at least 40 people present, a mix of ages, all of them dressed well, all of them watching with calculating interest. That's her, someone said in Italian. She's younger than I expected. Pretty though, another voice added. Dante always did have good taste. Dante squeezed my hand, a silent reminder that he was there. We approached an older man seated at the head of the main table, his uncle, the current don of the family. Uncle Vittorio, this is Emily Carter. My partner, the woman helping me raise my children. Vittorio studied me with sharp eyes that missed nothing. So you're the one who's made my nephew soft. Teaching him that maybe violence isn't always the answer, that family can mean more than business. I'm just trying to help with the children, sir. Danny's choices are his own. Diplomatic answer. But I asked what I asked. You've changed him. Is that intentional manipulation or genuine influence? It's genuine care. I love him and his children. If that's changed him, it's because he wants to be better for them. Not because I'm manipulating anything. A smile tugged at Vittorio's lips. Honest, I appreciate that. Sit, both of you. Let's see if you can survive a meal with the Moretti family. The dinner was a test. Every course came with pointed questions, veiled challenges, assessments disguised as small talk. They asked about my family, my background, my thoughts on loyalty and discretion. They probed for weakness, for signs I'd betray them or couldn't handle pressure. So Emily, one of the cousins, asked, "What do you think of our family business? Does it bother you that Dante does what he does?" It's complicated. I don't condone illegal activity. But I understand that people are more than their worst choices. Dante is a good father and a good man. What he does professionally, I've chosen to separate that from who he is personally. That's naive. In our world, business and personal are always connected. You can't separate them. Then maybe I'm naive. But I'd rather be naive and happy than cynical and alone. Several people laughed, and the tension eased slightly. I'd passed some kind of test by not backing down. Halfway through dinner, a man I didn't recognize approached our table. He was roughly Dante's age, well-dressed, but there was something predatory in the way he looked at me. Dante, you didn't tell me your new girl was this beautiful. I'm almost jealous. Then it's good she's not available, Carlo. Danny's voice was cold. Emily, this is Carlo Castellano. From the family we had issues with a few months ago. The man who'd threatened us. The reason we'd hidden in a safe house for 4 days. And he was here, at a family meeting, acting like everything was normal. Relax, Carlo said, seeing my tension. The dispute is settled. We're at peace now. I'm just here to show respect, acknowledge that your woman is under Moretti protection. No hard feelings. No hard feelings about the fact that you tried to have us kidnapped? Donnie's hand on my leg tightened, a warning to be careful. But I was angry and tired of pretending this world was acceptable. That was just business, Carlo said easily. Nothing personal. You understand that, right? In our world, leverage is leverage. Dante would have done the same in my position. I wouldn't have, I said firmly. I would never threaten children or innocent people to gain business advantage. That's not strategy. That's cowardice. The room went quiet. I just insulted a rival family's representative in front of the entire Moretti organization. Dante looked like he couldn't decide whether to be proud or terrified. Carlo's expression darkened. Careful, sweetheart. You're new to this world. You don't understand how things work. I understand that threatening children makes you a coward. And calling me sweetheart when I'm clearly with someone else makes you disrespectful. So why don't you go back to your table and leave us alone? For a long moment, no one moved. Then Vittorio started laughing, a deep, genuine laugh that broke the tension. I like her, Dante. She's got spine. Carlo, she's right. You are being disrespectful. Go sit down. Carlo left, but not before shooting me a look that promised future problems. After he was gone, Gianna leaned over. That was either very brave or very stupid. I'm not sure which. Probably stupid. But I meant what I said. I know. That's what made it brave. After dinner, Vittorio called Dante and me to speak privately in a back office. Your woman made an impression tonight. Half the family thinks she's perfect for you. The other half thinks she's a liability. What do you think? I think she's perfect for me. And anyone who sees her as a liability doesn't understand what real strength looks like. Good answer. Vittorio turned to me. Emily, I'm going to be direct. You're an outsider. You don't come from our world, don't understand our ways, and clearly disapprove of our methods. Why should I accept you as part of this family? Because I love Dante and his children. Because I've proven I'll protect them even when it's dangerous. And because I'm not trying to change your world, I'm just trying to help him navigate it while staying true to himself. You think he can be both? Part of our organization and the good man you believe him to be? I think he can try. And that's all any of us can do, try to be better than we were yesterday. Vittorio was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. You're accepted. Under family protection. Anyone who harms you answers to me directly and to Dante. Welcome to the Moretti family, Emily Carter. The relief was overwhelming. I'd been terrified of this meeting, and somehow I'd passed. Dante pulled me close once we were alone in the car heading home. I'm so proud of you. The way you handled Carlo, the way you spoke to my uncle, you were incredible. I was terrified the entire time. You didn't show it. That's what matters. Emily, do you understand what this means? My family's acceptance? You're protected now. Safe in ways you weren't before. I know. Though I could have done without insulting a rival family member in front of everyone. That was my favorite part. Watching you tell Carlo Castellano he's a coward. I've never been more attracted to you. We got home to find the children still awake. Having convinced the babysitter to let them stay up to hear about the meeting. Did they like Miss Emily? Lucia asked anxiously. They loved her. She was brave and smart and perfect. Just like we said she was. Marco grinned. I told you they'd see how awesome she is. After getting the children to bed, Dante and I ended up on the porch swing, our usual spot for important conversations. There's something I need to ask you, he said, pulling out a small box. I was going to make this romantic and planned. But Emily, tonight showed me that you're ready for this life. You can handle the pressure, navigate the politics, and still be completely yourself. So I'm asking now, without planning or perfect timing, will you marry me? The ring was beautiful, simple elegance that was completely my style. But more than the ring, the question itself felt right. We'd been through so much already, proven our commitment in harder ways than most couples ever faced. Yes, absolutely yes. He slipped the ring on my finger, and we sat together on the swing. Two people who'd found each other in the most unlikely circumstances and built something real from impossible foundations. Thank you, he said softly. For what? For seeing me. Not just the criminal or the father or the complicated man with too much baggage. For seeing all of it and choosing me anyway. Thank you for letting me in. For trusting me with your children, your heart, your complicated world. We sat there for a long time, wrapped in each other, knowing that our future would be complicated and sometimes dangerous. But also knowing that whatever came, we'd face it together. And that was enough. The wedding was scheduled for 6 months. Later, enough time to plan something beautiful, but not so long that we'd overthink it. We decided on a small ceremony, just close family and friends, in the brownstone's backyard that we'd spent weeks transforming into a garden. Are you nervous? My mother asked the morning of the wedding. She was helping me get ready, along with Gianna and my best friend from college. Not about marrying him. Just about everything that comes after. Officially being part of his world, the responsibilities, the expectations. You've been handling it for a year already. Today just makes it official. She adjusted my veil. Emily, I know I had reservations about Dante initially. But seeing how he loves you, how devoted he is to those children, how he's working to build a better life, I'm happy for you. Truly. The ceremony was perfect. Marco and Lucia were part of the wedding party, Marco as ring bearer, Lucia as flower girl. They took their roles seriously, Marco standing tall and proud, Lucia scattering petals with careful concentration. When Dante saw me walking down the makeshift aisle, his expression made everything worth it. Pure love mixed with disbelief that this was actually happening. You're beautiful, he said when I reached him. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen. The ceremony was traditional, officiated by a family friend. We'd written our own vows, and when it was my turn, I spoke from the heart. Dante, a year and a half ago, I walked into your house thinking I was just taking a nanny position. I had no idea I was walking into my future. You've shown me that family isn't always simple, that love can exist in complicated circumstances, and that the best things in life are worth fighting for. I promise to love you, support you, and stand beside you through whatever comes. And I promise to love your children, our children, with everything I have. You three are my family now. My home. My everything. Donnie's vows were equally emotional. Emily, you came into our lives when we were broken. Maria's death had left the children and me lost, struggling to function. You didn't just help us survive, you taught us how to live again. You showed me that I could be more than my position in the family, more than my obligations and responsibilities. You made me want to be better, and I promise to spend the rest of my life being worthy of the faith you've shown in me. I love you. Today, tomorrow, always. When we kissed, the children cheered louder than anyone. At the reception, they refused to leave our sides, Lucia holding my hand, Marco staying close to Dante. Are you officially our mom now? Lucia asked during dinner. Officially. Is that okay with you? More than okay. I always wanted you to be my mom. Now you are. Marco was more thoughtful. Miss Emily, Mom, do you think our first mom would be happy that we found you? The question made my heart ache. I think your first mom would be very happy that you have someone who loves you as much as I do. She'd want you to be happy and cared for. That's what good mothers want for their children to be loved. Then I think she'd like you. Because you make us really happy. 6 months into marriage, I was officially adopted as Marco and Lucia's mother. It was a formality. I'd been acting as their mother for over a year, but having the legal recognition felt important. Now no one can take you away from us, Lucia said, hugging the adoption certificate like it was a treasure. No one could take me away before either. But yes, now it's official. We're a real family. We were always a real family, Marco corrected. This just makes it legal. Smart kid. He was right. A year after the wedding, Dante made a major announcement at a family meeting. He was stepping back from active leadership in the criminal operations, transitioning fully to managing the legitimate family businesses. It was a decision that had taken months of negotiation with Vittorio and the family council. Are you sure about this? I asked when he told me. I don't want you resenting me for pushing you out of something that's been your life. I'm not being pushed. I'm choosing. Emily, I've seen what my choices have cost, the fear you lived with, the danger we've exposed the children to. I want better for all of us. The legitimate businesses are profitable enough to support our lifestyle. I don't need the criminal operations anymore. What about family obligations? Your uncle, your position? I'm still part of the family. Still available for advice, for support when needed. But the violent, illegal aspects, someone else can handle those. I'm choosing my family over the family. And I'm at peace with that decision. The transition wasn't seamless. Some family members thought Dante was abandoning his responsibilities. Others understood and supported his choice. There were a few tense months where we worried about retaliation or consequences. But eventually things settled. Dante's younger cousin took over his former position, and we moved forward with our new, quieter life. 2 years into marriage, I got pregnant. It was unplanned but welcome. Both of us had talked about maybe having more children, expanding the family. How do you think Marco and Lucia will react? I asked, hand on my still flat stomach. They'll be excited. They've been asking for a sibling. Dante kissed my forehead. Another adventure for us. Telling the children was one of my favorite memories. We sat them down at dinner and Dante made the announcement. We have some news. You two are going to be big siblings. Emily's pregnant. Marco processed this seriously. So we're getting a baby brother or sister. In about 7 months, yes. Cool, I'll teach them stuff. Like how to throw a ball and read big books. Lucia was even more enthusiastic. I'm going to share my toys and help take care of the baby and be the best big sister ever. The pregnancy was smooth and our daughter Sophia was born on a spring morning. Marco and Lucia were at the hospital, meeting their new sister within hours of her birth. She's so small, Lucia whispered, touching Sophia's tiny hand with gentle reverence. You were this small once. Hard to believe, right? I adjusted Sophia in my arms. Want to hold her? Both children took turns holding their new sister, and watching them be so careful and loving made me cry. Dante sat beside me on the hospital bed, arm around my shoulders, taking in the scene of our complete family. We did good, he said softly. All of this, it's better than I ever imagined. Even the parts where I yell at you for leaving wet towels on the bathroom floor. Even those parts. Especially those parts, actually. The normal couple stuff is my favorite. 3 years after Sophia's birth, our family had settled into a comfortable routine. Dante ran the legitimate family businesses from a home office, allowing him to be present for school pickups and dinner every night. I'd gone back to school, getting my master's degree in child psychology, with plans to eventually open a practice helping children deal with grief and trauma. You're using everything you learned with my children to help other families, Dante observed one evening, watching me work on a paper. That's beautiful. They taught me a lot. About resilience, about healing, about how children need consistency and love to overcome loss. I want to share that with other families going through similar situations. You're amazing. You know that, right? You took a nanny position and ended up transforming our entire family. We transformed each other. I'm not the same person who walked into this house 4 years ago thinking it was just a job. How are you different? Braver, more confident, willing to fight for what matters instead of running when things get complicated. You taught me that. This family taught me that. 5 years after our wedding, Vittorio passed away peacefully in his sleep. His death marked the end of an era for the Moretti family. At his funeral, The entire organization gathered, a mix of legitimate business people and those still involved in criminal operations. He liked you, Gianna told me at the wake. Told me once that you were exactly what Dante needed. Someone strong enough to stand up to him, soft enough to love him, and smart enough to navigate our world without losing yourself. I miss him. Even though I knew him for such a short time, he made an impact quickly. That was his gift. She clinked her wine glass against mine. To Uncle Vittorio. May he rest in peace, knowing he built something that will outlast him. 10 years after I'd first arrived for that nanny interview, I sat on the porch swing watching our children play in the backyard. Marco was 16 now, tall and athletic, teaching Sophia, now 7, how to kick a soccer ball. Lucia, 13, was reading on a blanket nearby, occasionally looking up to laugh at her siblings. Happy? Dante asked, joining me on the swing with 2 glasses of wine. Incredibly. Sometimes I still can't believe this is my life. That I went from being a nanny to this, married to you, mother to 3 amazing kids, part of a family I love. Do you ever regret it? Choosing this complicated life instead of something simpler? Not once. This life, this family, it's exactly what I didn't know I needed. The complications are worth it. Even the parts where you're married to a former criminal, especially those parts. Because that former criminal is also the man who loves me completely, who's an amazing father who's built a good life for our family. Your past doesn't define you, Dante. Your choices now, those define you. You've always seen the best in me. Even when I didn't deserve it. You deserved it. You still deserve it. And I'll keep seeing the best in you for the rest of our lives. We sat together on the swing, watching our children. Knowing that our story had started in the most unlikely way, a nanny position that became so much more. But the beginning didn't matter as much as what we built from it. A family. A life. A love that had survived complications, dangers, and all the reasons it shouldn't have worked. Thank you, Dante said softly. For what? For answering that job posting. For walking into our lives and deciding to stay despite every reason to run. For loving my children. For loving me. For building this with me. Thank you for seeing me as more than just a nanny. For taking a chance on us. For being willing to change your life for this family. Marco called for us to come play, and we left the swing to join our children. As I ran across the yard, laughing with Sophia chasing me, I thought about how far we'd come. From that first nervous interview to this, a complete family, built on love, trust, and the courage to choose each other despite impossible odds. It wasn't the story I'd expected. But it was the story I was grateful to be living. Every complicated, messy, beautiful moment of it. Epilogue. 15 years later, I stood in the kitchen of our brownstone, preparing dinner for what had become a massive family gathering. Marco, now 28, was bringing his fiancée. Lucia, 25, had just finished law school and passed the bar. And Sophia, 19, was home from college for the weekend. Mom, do you need help? Sophia asked, wandering in from the living room. I'm good, honey. Just making your dad's favorite. Even after all these years, you're still trying to win him over with food? She grinned. Pretty sure he's already committed. Old habits. Plus, I like cooking for people I love. Dante appeared, wrapping his arms around me from behind. What are we gossiping about? How Mom still cooks your favorite meals after 20 years together, and I'm still grateful every single time. He kissed my cheek. You've spoiled me. The doorbell rang. Marco arriving with his fiancée, a lovely woman named Isabel who taught elementary school. Within an hour, the house was full. Gianna and her family, my parents, our children, and their partners, all gathered around the table that had seen countless family dinners over the years. A toast, Marco said, standing with his wine glass. To Mom and Dad. 20 years ago, Mom walked into this house thinking it was just a nanny job. Instead, she became the glue that holds this family together. She taught us what unconditional love looks like, showed Dad that he could be more than his past, and gave us the most stable, loving home anyone could ask for. So here's to Mom, the best thing that ever happened to this family. Hear, hear. Everyone chorused, and I tried not to cry. Speech. Lucia called. I didn't prepare anything. That's never stopped you before. Sophia teased. I stood, looking around at all these people I loved. When I answered that job posting, I was just looking for employment. I had no idea I was walking into my destiny. This family, you've taught me about resilience, about choosing love even when it's complicated, about building something beautiful from unexpected beginnings. Dante, you've been my partner in every sense of the word. Marco, Lucia, Sophia, you've made being a mother the greatest adventure of my life. And to everyone here, thank you for accepting me, for making me part of this family, for showing me that sometimes the best things come from the most surprising places. After dinner, Dante and I escaped to our usual spot on the porch swing while the younger generation cleaned up inside. 20 years, he said. Sometimes it feels like yesterday you walked through that door. Other times it feels like you've always been here. Both are true. Time is weird like that. I leaned against his shoulder. Any regrets? Not a single one, you? Only that I didn't say yes to being more than the nanny sooner. We could have had more time together. We have all the time we need. And besides, the journey to get here, even with its complications, made us stronger. We know what we've overcome to build this life. That makes it more meaningful. When did you become so philosophical? When I married a woman who makes me think about life differently. You've changed me in so many ways, Emily. All of them good. Inside, we could hear our children laughing, our grandchild to be on the way as Marco and Isabel were expecting. Life continuing forward in the most beautiful way. We did good, I said. Echoing words Dante had said many times over the years. We did great. And we're not done yet. More adventures ahead. I'm ready for all of them. As long as you're beside me. Always. From that first interview to forever. You're stuck with me. Mrs. Moretti, the best job I ever took. We sat on the swing watching the sunset, knowing that our story, which had started with a simple job posting, had become something neither of us could have predicted. A nanny position that became a love story. A criminal past that transformed into a legitimate future. Two broken people who'd helped each other heal and build something beautiful. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was better, it was real. Messy and complicated and absolutely perfect in all its imperfection. And I wouldn't change a single moment of it.